gamers, gamettes, and everyone in between. It's your boy Qyz, and you already know what today is. It's December 30th, 2021, which means within the next 36 hours, we are going to be heading into 2022! Woo! 2022! Yeah, that's right. You never thought you would make it outside of the pandemic. You never thought COVID would go away. But boy, did we have you all fooled, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open up our borders. We're going to open up all of our restaurants. We're going to open up every business and establishment you can think of, I can think of, or the world can fathom, because, ladies and gentlemen, within 36 hours, we're going to be back. Full systems, full power. Huh? That's actually not how it's going. Oh, COVID is running the scoreboard up on us. You mean the city of Atlanta is basically the new setting of the next Resident Evil movie? Oh, so we have just screwed the pooch. We fucked it. All right, cancel it. Never mind. It's 2020, episode 3, coming to a theater near you. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and handle business today. But subtle fraudulence, man. How you been, buddy? You been doing good? I mean, are you ready for the next episode of 2020? Because apparently we never left it. It's like the hyperbolic time chamber.
There is no next episode of 2020, sir. There is only 2022. The fight against COVID's big brother, Omicron. So yeah, Omicron Persei 8 shows up, right? And it's bodying Atlanta right now.
It's getting smoked. It's free. It is
free
matchup.
We all saw our families and whatnot. We all had fun times, and then people were like, "Hey, I'm not feeling so well." And then they go take themselves a rapid test, and then everybody just starts posting pictures of like, "They got me. It's me. I'm also sick. I'm sorry, guys." And hopefully everyone's doing all right. But everybody can get it. Right now, if you're vaccinated, if you're boosted, all that stuff, Omicron doesn't care, because we don't have vaccinations for a new strain. That's how strains work, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly how strains work. We're not prepared for the new strain because we made the vaccine for the old strain. If there's if I beat you up right now, Qyz, and you have like some sort of like family member who comes out of nowhere and is like, now you have to fight me. I'm not prepared for that. Of course I'm not. I only trained to go against you. I didn't expect this new person to come out, but eventually I can, find the hyperbolic time chamber. I can, learn some new moves, and then, I'll go fight again. If I lose, I mean, I lived a good life, I guess.
Look, man, I don't think a lot of people realize, there's a reason why you still have to get a flu shot every year. These vaccinations, They're not permanent. You don't get one in 93, and then in 2033, you're just like, I'm immune, baby. That's how it works. I'm the GOAT. The greatest.
It never ceases to amaze me how, pretty much every month we get to find out how many people the current U.S. education system has failed, because these people come through and they're like, you want me to get, they're going to tell me to get another vaccine for this new variant, and then another variant's going to come, and it's like, hey guys, I don't know if you were paying attention, but a bunch of people have been saying, hey, maybe if you got the first vaccine, there wouldn't be enough people getting sick for COVID to mutate again, and then we would have another variant to deal with. You see, that's the whole point of getting the first one, because we're trying to fight it so that we don't have to worry about, cousins, sisters, brothers, the whole family coming through to body us while we're not even done with, the first family member. So yeah, it's not looking good.
Look, man,
like, people who are vaccinated are getting it too. I mean, yeah.
You want proof the education system has failed everyone over here? Let me tell you something right now. Somebody thought it was a good idea to go on a holiday cruise. And not just one, not just two, not just over 4 of them. Big cruise liners going into international waters. And somehow, some way, they did not have the foresight to see that a COVID pandemic was going to bust out on these cruise ships. So bad, in fact, once these crestfallen and everything's in shambled ships pulled up on foreign shores in the foreign ports, those foreign ports are like, hey, nah, we'll give you some fuel, but you turn that big bitch the fuck around and you go back from when she came, okay? They were somehow shocked that they were getting told to roll back, big fella. Summer's over. Fall back, buddy. Go back from whence you came, because you're not welcome around here, playboy. You're not welcome. Do not pull up. Do not show us any of your people. Keep them in their rooms, lock and key tucked away, as you stow away back to the shadow realm known as the United States. I just don't understand how anybody thought this was a good idea.
The CDC had to come out and actually say, like, even if you are double vaccinated, even if you gotten the booster shot, all that, avoid cruise ships. Like what are you doing? Avoid the ships, because Omicron doesn't care about any of those things, because we weren't prepared for a variant that we couldn't see coming. But hey, it's here. We've got to deal with it. It's people are catching it a lot easier, but so far, vaccinated people have a lot less intense symptoms. So basically, if you're vaccinated,
it affects you a lot less.
Yeah, it's not going to be like an automatic death sentence.
Statistically, on average, there's always those variables that show up.
Of course.
But what's wild to me? I see so many people, whether it just be on Instagram, whether it be through videos that people are sending me on Facebook, it'll be at 9:05 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I think I can't taste. I think Omni-Man got me. Fast forward 13 hours at 10:30 p.m. that same night. They Instagram, they Snapchat, whatever story they may have. If we still had Twitter fleets, it'd be their fleets. It's them turned up somewhere, talk about some, hey man, turn up.
Look, man, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
The mitochondria.
If you don't even remember that, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't spend most of your time being like, some guy on TikTok told me that this is all bullshit. Maybe you should trust the person who, it's their job to know more about this than you.
There are people who look at doctors, people who literally spent 6 to 8, in some cases 12 years, putting in not just the time on the secondary education level, going through university, having peer reviews, going through other people who are also qualified to talk about these things, who have come to the agreement that maybe staying your ass home is probably the best thing for not just you and your family and your other loved ones, but for basically everybody who could do this right here on the planet. This process right here. You may have heard it before. Anybody that can do that probably should have stayed their ass home. But somehow, some way, the people who have all the education and all the statistical analysis and the data that's right in front of their face because they've done the studies, somehow people look at them, people who have never done the studies, people who didn't even study the thing that they claim that they had their own personal interest in, go tell them, actually, no, you're wrong. I do believe that you are full of shit, good sir.
We got people going on TV, chest out, saying the wildest things. I saw a woman that said, chest out, that the bones have all kinds of coronaviruses in them, and I immediately was just like, that doesn't even sound right. We've had bones longer than this pandemic has happened, right? What are you talking about? Just look, listen to a pathologist, someone who studies diseases. Listen to that person. If you hear of a doctor and they say, yeah, I've got a doctorate in oncology. Oh, I've got a doctorate in chiropractic. Those people aren't necessarily going to tell you everything you need to know about this specific thing, or they might not know everything. They just might not know everything, and you're allowed to be like, I don't know, that doesn't sound right, man. Maybe I'll get a second opinion.
I could see, because I have heard this before. I have heard that there are people who have done a little bit of research on this, where I'm not saying that COVID is just sitting there in your bones, mutating in your bones, but it can affect your bones, whether just due to bone mass decretion or osteoporosis, because those things can happen, which then could further lead to brittle bones. Trust me, you don't want that, because then all of a sudden somehow you sat down on the toilet, next thing you know, you broke your tailbone, and that's No one on planet Earth ever deserves to be in a compromisable situation on a toilet. All right. Like, I do not wish
the
death,
Elvis.
severe pain, any sort of gastrointestinal disease. There should be nothing where you feel as though the end of your life is with you either defecating or projectile vomiting into the rim of the toilet seat, okay? If you die in the shower, yeah, it sucks, but at least it wasn't the toilet, all right? No one wants to be slumped with their pants down, ass out, bowel movement on the floor. Like, that's not attractive. That's not good for nobody. That's not good for someone who has to find it, the people who have to inevitably clean it up. And it's not good for you because somebody's last moments of seeing you as a human being, not in a box or in cremation station, is going to be that. And that's just not a look that you want to leave on anybody. Trust. But I mean, if you're not going to trust me, I know you're not going to trust some doctors out there. But anywho.
Well, look, that lady was trying to say that, like, if you were to take someone and cut their bone open, that there would be several different coronaviruses coming out of the bone itself.
Oh, she's saying the bone is creating the coronaviruses.
Yeah, that the coronaviruses are living in the bone, and that, like, you know, the bone is somehow giving it to other people, and so, like, you know, that not just COVID, but other coronaviruses are just living in your bones, and it's like, no. That's not how that works. I don't think that's how any disease works specifically. So
that person is trying to work on a cinematic production called 28 Years Later. She has to be. One of those monkeys just starts like breaking its own femur, just breaks its forearm, and then just starts pulling out bones, and all of a sudden, dust cloud. Oh no! That's what they're trying to. Because that is a bunch of poppycock. You telling me it's in the bone.
Look, if your source is just some guy who made some video that you saw on TikTok or Twitter or, you know, Facebook or anything like that, then that's not a good enough source. Like that, you shouldn't talk with chest out. Just be like, you know, I saw something and said maybe it's like this, and then people
especially
like, maybe,
especially if the random person that has that anonymous voice filter, y'all know the one.
Oh,
y'all know
no.
the one.
Like, oh.
The virus is stored in the bone marrow, and I'm here to let you know that the truth has been covered up yet again. But I, your savior, Xavier the Savior Marks, is here to enlighten you. And it's like, all right, DJ Professor K, relax, buddy. Relax. Calm the fuck down.
Or my favorite genre of TikTok now, where it's like it's just playing some random song that maybe is related, maybe it's not, maybe it's just, you know, like hyper popular at the time, so that people will watch it, and then it's like text on the screen and someone like, and then it's like, COVID is a lie, the government is trying to poison you, you know, like whatever it is. Like, all right, okay, that's fine.
The government has been hooking you all up to 5G satellites across the globe to track your position on the globe. How dare they do this? More at 6.
I mean, that's fine. I bought my house from the government, didn't I? Someone bought my house to own it, and that's, you know, definitely on the books. I'm buying it from them, or I'm like, you know, paying them to live here. Like it's if they want to find my information, it's somewhere. So it's not like, oh, the government is trying to figure out where you are at all times of day, and bro. It's like,
it's like, first of all, if you got a smartphone, whether it's a Note, whether you got any sort of Samsung Galaxy, whether you got a Google Pixel, an iPhone, it doesn't matter. If you have anything that has a SIM card in it, and you're using any of those apps like Snapchat, Instagram, or any of those other apps where you are allowed to show your global location or use location settings, because you guys know how, isn't it convenient every time you call up to a site, you want to order something, all of a sudden you put in your address. Hey, there's this other thing that you guys going to do in about 3 days for the next few months. It's called tax season, where you tell the government how much you made, where you made it, who paid it to you, when they paid it to you, what address they may have, which establishment you work for, and oh, get this. Your address is on there. For those of you who do direct deposit, your banking information, it's on there. Trust me, folks. If you're worried about them getting your information, you shouldn't be worried about that because you already gave it to them. It's
Also, the
already
people who complain
happened.
about these, the people who complain about these things are the ones who want to get who want their phones and apps and whatnot to track them more. Like the moment you lose your phone, the moment you lose these devices, or you want to buy something and it's not auto populating your name, your address, your credit card information, all that stuff, and you want it to do that because you saw it somewhere else. Yeah, that requires the device to know a lot of personal information about you, and you're giving it up, and you're demanding that developers make more features that give you more of that stuff, which means
I mean, for a lot of you guys, some of y'all are upset that social media websites, video games, and other places where you have to make an account online don't take your social security number because y'all think that's somehow going to limit the amount of trolls that are going to be on the internet. It's not. Believe me when I tell you, it's not. And that would set a hell of a dangerous precedent that other countries actually do have those features. They actually do that. But you think trolling will go down? Trust me, if you had to give up your social security number, I guarantee you, y'all would riot. Y'all would scream. Y'all would yell. And rightfully so, by the way. You should. You should not have to give up that level of pertinent information about yourself. But if you go into your phone right now and go into if you're on an Android phone and you use Google Plus, or if you're on the computer and use Google Plus, just go in your Google settings. Look at all the things that you co-opt into on default. Your pick, because there was something I learned last week. I didn't even know they stored this. Did you know if you ever use the Google voice to speech to write a text message, it saves that to the cloud?
Yes.
And I don't mean it saves it like that for maybe a couple of weeks after you sent the text message. No. That stuff be up there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
So that they can understand your preferences, sir.
Yes, yeah, but I don't think you need to know about me complimenting an ex's titties in June 3rd, 2012. I just don't feel as though that is anybody's business, much less because I made a YouTube channel and they said, hey, you got to put on that Google Plus. And then when I said yes, all of a sudden, now you know what her nipple areola looking like. I just did not think that would be a thing. But people are getting smoked out there.
Man? What if she goes missing? Gabby Petito, man. What if she goes missing? Now we have to figure out what you were doing. What's the last thing you said to her? Where's the last area that you've been?
What they're gonna pull out the flashlight and they're gonna be like, all right, we're on to you. And it's like, excuse me? You're on for what? When's the last time you touched her areolas? What? You what, mate? It's like, I don't know. I've never heard of the wide receiver from the New England Patriots named Danny Amendola. Never heard of him. Nope, not me. But there you go. It is wild to me that we're still this inept with COVID. And don't get me wrong, it's not changing anytime soon. Don't think there's some optimism coming through the pipeline here. We're just going to have to get lucky on this one. But unfortunately, as I've said a couple of times before, this isn't something that we're going to be able to shake overnight. And we've gotten to a point to where going back to work seems to be the only thing we can do, because the time that we had to nip this in the bud, we fumbled.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest fumbles I can think of in the modern era of human history, but we fumbled.
This is a nation where if we can argue about something, we will argue about it. We're arguing about pizza. We're arguing about clothes. Or we argue about where to live, who deserves to buy a house, how expensive your house should be. Oh, that guy streams for a living. He shouldn't be buying a $2 million house. How dare he? I have to go do work in a coal mine. If there's a reason to argue about something, the argument will happen here, and it will be insane.
You say work in a coal mine. I'm trying to think, damn, when's the last time I cooked on a coal-based grill? I don't even know when I cooked on a charcoal-based grill. I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't.
If you imagine, tell the dude that works in the coal mine, it's sorry, your job is over. We don't need you anymore. Coal is not necessary in our society anymore. It's what? Need my kids.
When was the last time that y'all had like a traditional non-propane based grill for your barbecue? Because I'm really trying to think, man, I've been missing out.
What's a barbecue?
Oh, that you're right. I forgot. We don't get to have those anymore. Damn, my global clock reset to 2019. Thank you for setting me straight, sir. You're right.
Good man.
What is in fact a barbecue? I don't know what that is.
I haven't even had Korean barbecue in quite some time.
Bro, I don't forgot that was a thing that even existed in our lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man.
Literally the best food ever. We don't even remember it exists.
Hey man, you say Korean barbecue, but hey man, Chinese food it's up there. Don't sleep on it. And I already know someone in the comment section is gonna make a coronavirus joke because I said Chinese food is godlike. And look, if you're gonna do that, go ahead. There's the door over there. Go ahead and skedaddle. Go ahead and don't even touch my door because you probably got the virus because you clearly wilding out here. So I'll open it for you. You can walk out. I'll shut it. I will spray the handle on both sides with Kleenex and some good old Clearex, some Windex. Wipe it down with some bleach Clorox. I'll do everything I need to do to sanitize the area because I know you don't waft in here with some nonsense to bring it to my attention. But we're not here to just talk about COVID. We're here to talk about the God himself, the legend, the innovator, really. Some would even go as far to say the prodigal son. Others would go as far to say the man who invented esports. Folks, we're talking about the whole Thorin incident. And, you know, on one hand, it's comical. It's a comedy of errors. You laugh, you slap the knee, you have a chuckle to yourself, and then you continue scrolling through the timeline to see what other nonsense you'll find on that given day. But somehow, some way, the conversation seems to be continuously hijacked to center around this guy. And you may be saying, all right, so what exactly is this? Well, Thorin is a big-time CSGO, League of Legends commentator person. Like, he's a big personality within the esports scene. There's no doubt about this, all right? And he has come to this notion that esports is in his DNA. Or should I say that esports is his DNA. He seems to believe that he is the blueprint and the gold standard of what it means to be a representative of esports, which is all fine and dandy if that's what you truly want to believe in a self-proclaimed roundabout type of way. Hey, you do you. However, the main conversation stems from the fact that there is a league that is being developed for women-only competitors. In a weird, extend the olive branch type of way of lowering some of the barriers to entry from the toxicity that's been out there towards women in the gaming space, whether it be people in the industry or people on the outside looking in who just want to, get the little baby toe in there, just try to peek in through the curtain and, see if this whole esports community thing is something that they want to do full time. Because let's face it, folks, there is a huge, and I mean a huge, like Grand Canyon sized chasm divide between how many men we see in these open brackets, these formats for various games and competing at the highest level, as opposed to women. Now, I'm not saying that you should make it easy and try to, cherry pick women and just try to push them to the top. That's not what this is. This is more of a, let's see if we can get a call to arms, if you will. Let's have a more welcoming environment, because as we know, there are ladies who are very put off to the fact that a lot of men already treat them like shit just off top for being women in the gaming space. And there are a lot of women who are interested in gaming, but do not make it very well known due to the fears of the aforementioned situations. Now, you may be saying, all right, well, what is an all-women's tournament going to do? Well, not only will it have other women looking at the event, they might be like, oh, that's cool. I might want to get involved in this. And potentially you'll see more women entering the space. But at the same time, women who are already in the space but may be a little timid to compete now might be able to strut their stuff and, stretch out a little bit, show off, and pop off a little bit. And I'm not saying just to get their metrics up or, get their numbers up, but, get out there a little bit more. Because, there are plenty of people who are content creators, male and female and everything in between, that are very timid and don't want to say or do or produce because they feel like they might be slighted, judged. So they're trying to make it a little bit more of a safer space. I mean, you already know, like, when you played the games back in the day on Xbox Live, I don't give a fuck who you were or what age you were. Not shit was safe. You better not bring 6-year-old Timmy into the voice chat because it was over for 6-year-old Timmy.
No. Don't you dare try that, man. 6-year-old Timmy's the one out here dropping the N-bombs, man. 6-year-old Timmy is the one who's throwing out the 360 no-scope. And so he's better.
So you're saying 6-year-old Timmy is the threat. All right.
Yeah, 6-year-old Timmy's the threat.
No, not back in the Xbox Live day. Not back in the when Xbox Live was on the original Xbox in the first few years of the 360. Early PlayStation 3, free PSN, first incarnation. Nah, man, it was different back then. It was different. That was the wild, wild west of verbal combat. There are some people who are bronze in the game, but they are GM top 500 on the mic, okay? We were some wild people back then, all right? And let's just say, in the modern era, now that we've become a little bit more sensitive and more sensible to a lot of these other people who exist out there, who didn't come here for all that. They just want to play some good games. That's it. That's all they want to do. They just want to relax, play some games, compete, and not have to worry about all the jitter and the trash talk that's in between. And hey, that's fine. More power to them, tip of the hat and all that. But in order to accommodate those people, as we all know, there's no place in any sport really for the just absolute blatant disrespect, whether it be through racism, sexism, and, the jokes that were never really funny to begin with. But at the same time, having a women's only league has a lot of positives that we just addressed. Now, I don't know about you. What do you think about the women's only esports league? Like, how do you feel about that?
First off, let me read what this fool Thorin said.
You're going right to him. All right.
Let me read the exact thing that this fool said in response to the idea, just the idea, the notion that there will be a women's only esports league. Wonder why only cynical marketers and future sex offender male feminists want to help you gals, and you can't seem to get the most talented and prolific individuals in this industry to engage with you or your initiatives? Tell you what, you do that cute thing where you tell me to get out of the industry I built and still rests on my fucking shoulders. I am esports, says Thorin. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. This man is shook over like a women's only esports league, which is honestly it's nothing like it's nothing. It's just something cool that's going to be
these
adjacent
leagues,
to what's already put in place.
Because these leagues are not a supplement replacement or anything like that. These leagues like this have been around for, I would say, at least half of the lifespan of esports itself.
Yeah.
If not longer, because this is not like a new thing. Like, this isn't like a brand new concept that just fell out of the sky one day. Fighting game community has had events like this for at least 6 years.
Exactly. And look, the whole point of this is not to sit here and like placate to some weird industry, whatever. This is literally for the demographic of women who want to be more involved in esports or want to like be more involved in like gaming communities, but they feel like they can't be comfortable around the general community because they'll get judged immediately because either because of their looks or because they're not as knowledgeable or whatever. They'll get gatekept by like stupid idiot who like stays on Reddit every day and like reads a bunch of math equations about his game. Is like, if I move at this frame in 2 seconds, then I'll get the perfect kill streak right here. Like whatever, right? Like they're not trying to be that dude or deal with that dude's criticism. They're just trying to like enjoy the game and have a good time. And this is a type of thing that allows them to play the game and have a good time. It doesn't mean that they're not gonna be able to interact with men or anyone else who's in the venue or anything like that, because those people will probably still be there playing in the regular league as well. They can all interact and have a good time. It's just that this will allow them to, have fun, or, specifically just interact with women if they feel more comfortable around women. Like, you don't fucking have to worry so much about this, because it's not that big of a deal. This is gonna be there, and then it's mainly there for fun and to, like, be inclusive towards other people who want to be a part of this community. And you want more people in the goddamn community. All right. The more people there are, the more money there is, the more opportunities there are. Like everybody wants to talk about how, the general esports community, it makes all this money, blah, 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 whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make that much compared to like other industries. And, the FGC is like, oh, you guys want to be esports, blah, blah, blah. Or you have the idiots who are like, FGC don't got money. It's never going to have money because it's got ruffians and all that other bullshit, right? One is trying to be the other, and the other one is literally trying to be like everybody else, there aren't like billionaires they're billionaires because of like the esports industry. But that could happen if you have more people who are interested in the industry. But you can't have that happen if you're not doing something to attract more people. You can't just keep it the way it's been for all this time and just hope that people are just gonna, want to be into it. Just because Tekken 7 came out and it's more excessive to people doesn't mean that automatically Tekken 7 is the only thing that's gonna attract new players to the FGC. And just because League of Legends had Arcane, which attracts people who may not have like paid attention to League of Legends at all, doesn't mean that that's the only thing that needs to be put in place to attract more League of Legends players. I mean, shit. Speaking of toxicity, League. Oh man, like when you got people sitting here like pinging a fucking area, it's like, Ward over here. What are you doing? Oh my god, you noob! Get out of here! Why are you even playing? That kind of nonsense. Like, some people don't want to deal with all that bullshit, and this is just a way for those people to also enjoy the thing instead of having to like gain some sort of FOMO with the community. Like, that's all it is. But you got idiots like Thorn over here who's just like, you see, the women don't understand all the things that I've done for them. Esports is me. I've done this. It's like, bro, if you left, there would be another one of you. Like, someone else would be able to replace you. That's how this industry works. Honestly, like he is replaceable. Like, yes, he is a personality. Yes, he's got, all this tenure and whatnot, but that doesn't mean he's the only person in the entire esports industry who's capable of like, commentating, who's capable of like doing, organizing events or anything like that. He's not the only person who's capable of taking the industry to the next level. Like, shit, man, like there are women who could replace him. So like he's over here trying to talk all this shit. It's like what are you afraid of, man? What are you doing?
Look, all I'm gonna say is that, like, this isn't more of an all I'm gonna say, because there's a lot here. So I'm just gonna say this. So just go ahead and bring it in, tighten the focus. All right, get the tinsel, the glamour. All right, cool. So all this being said, remember how I talked about back in the golden days, back when you could say whatever you want to anybody? You got to understand this. Just because I thrive on that environment, and I love it when people get salty, the anger, the just vitriol that just pours out of a silver-tongued devil as we fight to upheave the earth, to just absolutely lash at each other and destroy each other and make sure that the other person on the other side of the cyberverse feels like absolute dog shit, that they would dare try to come at me with some nasty, disrespectful, inflammatory verbiage? Oh, you best believe I'm trying to dunk on you verbally. That's what we're here to do. That's the joust that I live for. But just because I am okay with that doesn't mean that everybody else should be subjected to it, especially if they don't want to deal with it, or they don't like it, or in some cases, whether it be your anxieties, insecurities, or whatever you may have that makes you not want to interact in that environment, it shouldn't be forced upon you. Like when people say get thicker skin, or people should say you should be stronger, you should be better. It's about drive, it's about power. You got to stay hungry and devour. You know The Rock. You know him. He's got black Samoan in his veins. Truth. But just because you don't want to deal with it doesn't mean that you should just have to adapt and have to deal with it, because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, some of us work 9 to 5, some of us have, careers and at the cubicle, and you know damn well if some random person who just started on the job that you're only going to see this one time because he's an intern pulled up on you and started saying some of the stuff that y'all be saying online on the hot mic, y'all wouldn't just be sitting there going, oh, well, I'll just deal with it. Nah. You're either going to get upset, you're going to put the hands and the boots to him, you're going to throw him down a flight of stairs, you're going to go to HR. There's going to be some recourse of action, or you're just going to be stunned at the fact that you clocked in to be verbally abused. Maybe you work at Blizzard. I'm not sure, but maybe you do. But
not Blizzard. Maybe Riot, not Blizzard, please.
But to put it back in perspective, like I said, just because I'm okay with that environment doesn't mean that you should be subjected to that environment. And that's when people say you need to have thicker skin. It's like, no, because gaming is it's like escapism. It should be for everybody. It shouldn't be, oh, you have to be cut from this cloth. It has to be this way every single time. Because a lot of y'all be talking a lot of shit, a lot of disrespectful shit, and you've peaked in gold of your respective game. Some of you have peaked. Some of y'all haven't even seen a metallic rank yet, and you're talking this much shit. That is wild to me, first and foremost. Second of all, some of y'all be talking all this nonsense, saying all this, I don't know where you get it from, but all this hateful language from your soul. But you spent K through 12 getting beat up. You spent K through 12 not saying any of this when the person was within earshot. It was only when online in the safety of the four wall home, accompanied with a ceiling and a floor. That's the only time you ever really got in your bag and reached into your pockets and really pulled something out. Because you knew, just like you know now, that some of you have put in maybe like 12 years of trying to be some esports champion, some prima donna, some upper echelon Thorin clone. And somehow the only thing you have to show for it is competitive Apex player in your Twitter bio. Now that's it. That's all you got. That's you. That's you. You ain't made a dime, not a dollar, nothing. You ain't even made the hoochies holler. You've done nothing. You have done nothing worthy of popping your collar. You've done nothing. But somehow you just do better, guys. Just do better, ladies and gentlemen. Just do better, be better. Because I feel like every couple of years we have to have this conversation because somebody steps in the almighty poo, and much like in Conker's Bad Fur Day, somehow I have to be the voice of reason with my big ass beard. It's not. You think that's what I want? I'm not opposed to any of you learning and being better. But until we get to that point, I'm going to have to keep saying it.
Yeah, women are not they're not going to replace you. They're not going to change up the whole thing or whatever. Also, the same women that you're complaining about and that you're mad at for rejecting you or whatever, they were gonna reject you even if they didn't play video games. It's okay. They're allowed to play with you. They're allowed to play with us. It's not really gonna change much. All these weird people who are like, oh, the FGC is getting soft. Esports is getting soft. We're placating all these sensitive people and blah, 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 whatever. People say that about society in general. But the whole point is that they're just trying to respect people a lot more because respect is important. And
yeah, but some
I don't
people,
know about you.
Some people some people can only thrive in an environment of disrespect. Once they see respect, they see being cordial, they see being honest, transparent, and in some cases even vulnerable, dare I say. They see that as boring.
Get some help. They
see that as stagnant. They see that as
look, man,
Snoresville.
You got a mom, you got a dad, maybe you got a sister, maybe you got a brother, maybe you got some friends that you really, really will ride or die for. If anybody disrespects those people, you'll feel some type of way.
No, they won't.
Usually.
No, whoa.
Look, unless you're crazy.
People. No, not these
unless
people.
Unless you're wild.
These people, The new generation, let me tell you, you can disrespect their mom, you can disrespect their sister, you can disrespect them, but you better not disrespect George Not Found. You better not disrespect their favorite TikTok or Minecraft speedrunner.
Look, that's
those are the
man.
only untouchables you can find, bro.
These new kids are doing it because they idolize the generation of people who've like put on the tough guy act and made it seem like they can't be beat. You know, they've got the toughest shell and it can't be penetrated, all that kind of stuff. Even though they forget the part that these people also have a soft side that they just don't show you. So now you've got new kids who try to like do the same thing of like, yeah, I'm tough. Nobody can beat me, you know, whatever. And then they get their ass beat and they're just like, wait, what is this? I wouldn't expect this didn't happen to FGC guy number 2 or esports guy number 6. Like he never got beat up for, you know, being tough and popping off and whatnot. It's like, yeah, that's probably because after all the pop-offs and stuff happened on camera, probably like, you know, shook the guy's hand and was like, good shit, buddy. You know, and they probably like went out for a drink afterwards. You know, and in the moments when they didn't, there was still a respect there to be like, I don't like you, but I'm not gonna disrespect you. I'm just gonna keep it in the game. But you know, these people, some of these new kids just don't know that part because they weren't taught it. And then they're like, well, you know, old FGC was really awesome. You know, do you see all the hype and stuff? Everybody's friends now. You know, that's always my favorite FGC guy. You know, everybody's friends over here. Where's all the beef? You know, whatever. Yeah, all that stuff is fun, well, but you know, the moment somebody pulls a gun, bro.
When most of this stuff where it was all predicated on drama was during an era where no one ever thought that they would make genuine money from any of this.
On top of that, everyone had a layer of respect, and the ones who didn't are kind of gone. So
I mean, yeah. Even back then, the ones who didn't, once again, never thought they would see any money from this, and therefore, by proxy, had nothing to lose by doing it. And in some of these people's cases, being a foul-mouthed, arrogant piece of shit is the only thing that they had to distinguish themselves from anybody else. That's it. That's the gimmick.
Yeah.
They weren't going to teach you anything because they didn't know anything. They were not going to help you level up because they were a mid-level player, much like many of you. They were not going to spread life advice because they've never left their house. They weren't going to teach you life hacks because they, once again, have never once experienced life. The only thing they had was fuck you, fuck him, fuck her, and anybody who wants to support any of the aforementioned groups of people, fuck you too. That's all they had. That was it. That was the extent of their ability to differentiate themselves from the next Joe Schmuckety Schmim and Susie Schmuckety Schmee out there on the online metaverse that is being established by Facebook.
So oddly enough, when it comes to like the women in the like women's only tournaments, leagues, whatever, like that topic, like a week, maybe 2 weeks before, this is also being like discussed in the Smash community because there was a tournament circuit. There was like a tournament organizer that was trying to like start like a women's only tournament circuit, and they actually got like a lot of backlash from a lot of women in the community who, you know, like have made like videos and testimonials basically saying like, you know, these things are not good for us because it just makes our like experiences like worse than usual. Like we get harassed more. You know, you have more people who are just like, oh, who's the best girl in the FGC or who's the best girl in the Smash scene, all that kind of stuff. You know, they get harassed more for just being women and playing or whatever. You know, for some reason, some dudes like lose respect for women who, because they have women's only tournaments and don't join regular tournaments. It's like, if you were good enough, you could join a regular tournament or whatever, or you can't beat me, or, you know, all that dumb shit. Like, I don't know. It's a whole thing of like everybody getting like upset about the dumbest dude in the room who will just do and say the dumbest thing no matter what the situation is. But because they have this topic of you're a woman and you're playing game in what consider to be man only space, they can just use that as like the easiest way to push the buttons of this person that they don't know at all and like harass these people. So it's really interesting seeing that that there are women who are like, no, this is not good because this will make it harder for us. Which goes to show like how like traumatized they've been from just being a part of the general community. But the only way to fix that is to like somehow make these people less shitty, which how do you do it? You know, it's like, how do you do it to Joe Twitterface who freaking just lives
Joe
online all
Twitterface,
the time? You know, he has like 6 followers and he tweets about how Twitch is not the same. Twitch is horrible because, you know, there are girls doing hot tub streams. And it's like, bro, the games are still there. Like, you know.
See, the funny thing about the hot tub streams, like me personally, like I'm just say this real quick. Y'all know that like the way I see it is this.
Y'all the problem.
No, anybody on the platform who was coming to Twitch to look at like a little bit of booty cheeks, they was never looking at the games any motherfucking way.
Yeah, and they're the reason why the booty cheeks are like front and center and not just like somewhere in the place. Like it's your man's that's the problem, not the girl who's streaming. Like he's the one who's out here giving her the money and boosting her to a point where she's making like $1 million a month off of this kind of stuff.
Matter of fact, y'all be instead of being like, hey yo, it's the girl's fault that I'm losing viewership. Nah, it should be, hey viewers, thought y'all was loyal. What happened? I'm losing the cheeks? Do I have to bonk you? Like, you should be going after them.
You ain't got the cheeks, bro. Come on, man. You know how it is.
You telling me I'm losing to the yams? Wow. Y'all gonna do that to me? Y'all gonna look at me? Y'all tell me y'all rather look at yams? But I can pull up yams on my phone right now. I'm not, because that would be against terms of service, and I'm not going to do that. But I could. It's all like, do I just need to get some yams as a gift and just post them on the bottom of my screen? So when I'm doing cool things, y'all could be like, hey, I got the gameplay and the yams right there.
Hey, bro, that's just a game. These are yams, though. What are you talking about?
Hey, you
yams
right.
Is life.
Yeah, yams ain't just a game anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's evolved.
Nah, man. It's always been here. It's always been this way. It's the meme with the astronauts right here. It's like, you mean to tell me that yams are more important than gameplay? Always has been.
Hey, man, you might be on to something there, bro. But yeah, like the Twitter game has changed extensively, and as you know, Twitch is owned by a multi-billion-dollar company, and you know, when multi-billion-dollar companies do as they do, they typically are going to go where the money is. And if you thought, for any reason, that a company that loses money on Twitch every single year was not going to do something to offset that cost just by allowing a new form of content, you somehow thought, some way, they were going to say no to that. You're a goddamn idiot. That's all I got to say to you. If you thought that that's how it was going to go down, you don't know how business works, and you are just another example of how the education system has failed you dearly.
Mm-hmm.
And even that said, like, you noticed that when they came out with that list that got leaked, because Twitch can't even protect their own fucking assets, did you not notice that it wasn't just the top 15 creators were not just hot tub streamers? Did you notice that? Did you notice that? Did you notice that big list? It wasn't like just a whole top to bottom, just booty rocking everywhere streams.
I think out of like top 10, only like one was a woman.
So what you're not gonna do is tell me that it's been the yam takeover of 2019, 2020, and 2021. We're no longer in a yam-demic. All right.
Look, the last thing I'm gonna say on the topic of women in esports and gaming and all that stuff is like, to all these dudes who are out here like chest out trying to be like against all of these ways to make it seem more attractive to women and like other people who are outside looking in, do you want it to just be like a boys club, just dudes all the time, musty ass dudes who like are like shitty, stupid, do stupid stuff, maybe like will steal some stuff from you or beat you up for like beating them in a set or a match or whatever, like
imagine if someone wearing a Ahiago hoodie like swung on somebody, like imagine.
Oh my god! Look, that's a whole other thing. On top of that, you want it to be like the dudes who are like a little too into hentai, and stuff like that. Just there. That's the whole demographic. That's who you play with the whole time. Only those people. When you're in these tournaments, where you're going to be there for at least 2 hours at a time, if you're good, like, come on, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want that. I like other people. I like other people being around. So,
nah, buddy boy, you're gonna get what you deserve. It's time for the sweatiest of testicles at all times. They never bathe. They always smell. And they're gonna be the only ones who are gonna welcome you at the gates of hell. That's right, folks. You're stuck with them. Now you live with it. That's about all I got. It's a real stupid situation that we even need to have this conversation. But I guess, once again, we're just reliving the past over and over and over again, because those who not remember the past are doomed and destined to repeat it. So we'll be having this conversation next year? Yeah?
Look,
sound good?
It'd be nice to be at a point where it's not like you see a woman at your local tournament, or you see a woman in some kind of like esports related event, and you don't have to think, oh, who's she here with? Like who? Like, is she someone's girlfriend? Is everyone in this stupid room going to like slobber on her like crazy just because she exists? Is she here to play games, or is she here to like chill, just do nothing or whatever? All these other like misogynistic, like weird ideals of like, oh, she couldn't possibly be here to actually just play the game and have a good time and like meet other people who like to play the game and like get better and stuff. Nah, man. Like, let's get to a point where that's not the first thing that everyone thinks of when one woman walks into the room, because then you have all those stupid moments where dudes like harass women because they already have it ingrained in their brain that there's no possible way they could be here just for the same reason you're there.
Hey man, it be like that sometimes. Unfortunately, it's like that too many damn times. But people think about women as just a big old heap of meat.
Those people are weird, man. At this point in time, they're weird. We got to start just saying that, like, hey, man, you're being weird. Stop.
Because I mean, we've been R.I.P. Gwinnett Bravo. We have heard some people. We've overheard some strangers talking about some. I mean, the only reason I'm here is because I was about to shoot game at the insert female player here, and it's like, so your ass was a homebody, but you came out because you thought you were gonna get some play, but then she pulled up with a man, so now you sad and you just gonna leave early? Man, that's a waste of gas money right there. Y'all are weird.
Yeah.
Damn, you drove all the way from Alpharetta to come up here just for that? You were fucking goofy, bro. But okay. People are weird, bro.
Also, too, people on the outside looking in, who are trying to like join these communities. Two things to note. One, the online community does not usually reflect the offline community. All the things that you'll see posted on like Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. When you actually go to a regular tournament, like in person, the vibe is nothing like that. People there are, for the most part, very, very nice. Or, they're not, interacting with you randomly. They're not harassing you, that stuff. They're usually just there to play the game, have fun, whatever, chill with their friends, have fun. if it's a local, majors, that's a different thing. Two, online, it is very hard for you to escape getting someone who's gonna say some dumb shit in your DMs, especially if you're good at the game. Like, for example, I saw Combat post that he was playing in Combat League, and some dude
This man
messaged
that
him.
gave him the dissertation.
Yeah, the dude that said that like he only won because he's on PS5, and that some dude from T-Mobile told him that PS5 runs faster than PS4. No.
Nah, it was wild. That man sent that man about 12 voice messages. He's like, and I guarantee you, if you were to actually change systems right now, I would clobber you, you fucking bozo. And then he got clobbered.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, bro. That's crazy. If the PS5 be fiving, bro. That next gen be next genin', bro.
He said, because T-Mobile don't you ever go to a T-Mobile guy to tell you anything about online video games, all right?
Look, T-Mobile is that's the next training camp to be the greatest esports legend of all time. How are you not gonna go through the T-Mobile coaching tree? Like, that's the only way you're gonna become the good fruit, man. You gotta be an astute pupil at the T-Mobile School of Esports. Come on, man. Everybody knows that.
They don't even have an esports league. Like, come on, man. They don't have an esports group. They don't sponsor nobody. Come on now.
It's called esports, guys, not T-Sports. Relax. But like I said, I even made it funny enough you say that. I made a tweet earlier today that said, Twitter, FGC, offline FGC, and YouTube comment FGC are three distinctly different breeds of people.
Oh, yeah.
One of which I'm not gonna call people. That's YouTube comment FGC. But there's one breed that I didn't mention that may actually be worse, and that's Reddit FGC, because those brothers are weird. Those sisters are strange. Those folks are not what we would call good yolks. Bad eggs all around, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty fucking bad, dude.
YouTube comment FGC is barely FGC. It's usually just like people who like casually play the game, and they're just like, yeah, I beat up my brother yesterday, so I'm the best at this game. And it's like, bro, there's more to this than that.
I mean, you would hope so. You would hope that that there's a little bit more substance to that, but to some of these people, once again, they never left their house, so they don't know any better.
Let's not even talk about TikTok FGC.
Is that a thing? I actually don't know. Is that I know it's a thing, but like, is it a thing?
Barely. People post clips, and they're like, some FGC content creators who put stuff on there, and then you have some shoobies who show up and they say some things, and it's just like, yeah, you've never played this game, huh?
Oh, then I hitting up T-Mobile Esports talking about some. Well, actually, you see, Injustice 2 is very much like a combination between Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh, I can't wait for Injustice 3 to come out so we can hear some nonsense like that, man. I can't wait.
Y'all think I just made that quote up, by the way? No, I don't know when we talked about it, but there was a very specific local we went to, and some dude was trying to. Oh God, well, we may have actually been privy to the situation. Dude was trying to spit game at a girl by trying to teach her how to play Injustice 2. And the way he described the game was, this game is like a combination of Street Fighter 5 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I'm just like, Godspeed, Spider-Man. Godspeed.
Look, man, he said that because I was right next to him playing Marvel. And I was like, look, man, I say what you got to say to do what you got to do, young blood. Come on, man. He's like, come on. You're in high school? That's fine. I accept that you said this,
Like I said, I was like, oh man, look at these children. Anyways, and then I just went back to doing what I was doing.
It's like, you may not have played Marvel ever, and that's fine.
I just heard it just like in earshot, and I was like, you couldn't have said that. Nah, then you confirmed the story because you were right next to him, and I was just like, damn, you really do hate to hear about it. You hate to see it. My man was giving out the T-Mobile Esports handbook, and I hope she did not continue to renew that subscription, but hey, hope they're all doing well in life. Next, you'll hear Tekken 7 is just more on the lines of an advanced Beast Fury and Bloody Roar. You know, just something within those realms. Hey, man.
Rest in peace, Bloody Roar. God damn.
The funny thing is the third game was really good.
Yep. Third game was good. The game before it was, that in between game, the GameCube one was all right too. And then the fourth game happened, and it was like, what?
There was a fourth game?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Exactly.
I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Now hold on, dude. Hold up. Yo, there was a when did the 2013? No, the video came. No, wait, when did it? Hold on. It came out November.
I have a copy.
Okay, no, 2003. Okay,
I have a copy.
Yo, we're going to play that, bro. What? Hold on. Was it like? How bad was it?
They took a lot of the good stuff that was in the game and just kind of like, I don't know, neutered it in a weird way. And then also, character wise, there was that the girl that's on the cover. Like, it's really weird that she's even there. She's not a beast, and it was like that unborn dude in 3, kind of, but worse. The idea was just worse. I think a few of the well-known characters were just not there anymore. Like, they were just removed from the game. But whatever, they made an attempt. Compared to some games that are out now, it wasn't that bad. But it was not received very well. It was not promoted very well. And then Hudson Soft shut down. So I think some of those developers are at other companies now. So who knows if we'll ever get that that series ever coming back. But
hey man, there's always hope. What were you about to say?
I think they're owned by Bandai. I think like the actual license is owned by Bandai Namco now, or like some fairly known company that is probably never going to do anything with the license.
I believe it was owned by Konami.
It might be Konami. I think it's Konami
because I know Hudson Soft was absorbed into Konami.
So I
would assume that Konami just has it.
Yeah, it was like absorbed into Konami. So you've seen Konami. I mean, like,
you about to get a Bloody Roar pachinko machine.
Exactly. So yeah,
they about to start publishing Bloody Roar characters on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, bro. It's about to be a fucking tragedy, dude. But sometimes that's just life, man. It sucks. Sometimes it sucks, brother. But speaking of sucking, there's a whole lot of sucking that is going on because I don't know if you guys have heard, there's this whole thing called Pick a Side YouTube, and you may not have heard of it, so let's go ahead and address it. So Pick a Side YouTube is basically a bunch of YouTubers have basically drawn a line in the sand. They're basically trying to say that they are sick and tired of seeing their content being stifled, removed, taken away, sent to the shadow realm, and stricken from the record, or in some cases, even worse, the straight up removal of their channel. You may be saying, all right, but what type of content are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about the content that exposes people like EDP and various other people for being pedophiles. We're talking about people who are convicted felons, who are committing crime to this day, in some cases through their YouTube channel, in order to facilitate more of their illegal plots and things of that nature. Or whether we're talking about people who are luring children and scamming children into, let's just say it, not good situations for their everyday life. And if we're being honest, while you, I, and everyone else under the sun who has any sort of common sense knows that these people are in the wrong and these people are terrible and these people who are victimizing innocent lives and ruining them should be exposed. We all agree on that, right? They should be exposed because a lot of these videos do lead into actual punishments being doled out, whether it be through a further investigation, through law enforcement's perspective, or just the global pooning of a internet celebrity and some sort of social media phenomenon. People go, oh, that's who you really are? And they stop messing with those type of people. But YouTube has tried to overcover their ass and overcompensate for the fact that these videos may be misconstrued as bullying a fellow YouTuber or content creator on their platform. Therefore, these videos typically don't go over very well with the algorithm, and are thus seen as problematic and thus taken down. And these YouTubers who cover bad YouTubers and people who are scamming their audiences or, you know, legit hurting, once again, I can't stress this point further enough, literal children, hurting literal children, whether it be through grooming them or worse, because yes, there have been plenty of things that are worse on the platform. Or I don't know if you guys remember, a few years ago, there was that Daddy05 channel, which was about the dude who just beat his kids and treated them like shit on camera for some memes and some good old hidey hole memes. There have been people who have done animal abuse. There have been people who, to this day, on the platform, have videos where they, let's just say they do things to animals that are definitely illegal and you definitely shouldn't be able to do it. But trust me, there is a whole weird dark side of YouTube, and the fact that people making content that are exposing the people who are participating in it, and in even worse, heinous acts, benefiting from that type of content being out there, are getting hit harder than the people who are actually doing the thing. I do see how that could be a problem. And a bunch of YouTubers have gathered together and have basically picked up a hashtag called Pick a Side YouTube, in which they are pleading their case that YouTube needs to do something and allow their content to shine through, to showcase the fact that we are against all the aforementioned terrible, heinous acts that are still plaguing the platform to this day. However, the video itself is literally called Pick a Side YouTube by Mama Max, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I understand that he does this thing where he's like an unhinged serial killer, and that's kind of like his like gimmick for his YouTube videos. That's kind of his thing, where he talks, as you heard earlier in the segment where we were talking about the people who have voices like this with the filter to showcase that they are the demon and you shouldn't awaken the demon lord, for when he comes for you, you have no soul. You know, one of those YouTubers. And essentially, his video pleads the case using that voice, a little corny for such a serious topic. But then he goes on to have a bunch of other YouTubers who seem to be sane, have good heads on their shoulders, are trying to, you know, fight the good fight. And that goes on for about a series of like 20 minutes of little snippets of these other YouTubers laying down some facts, laying down some groundwork, some foundational work. But then the last like handful of minutes of the video are Mama Max trying to settle his beef with Corpse. And I quote, there's a video, you can watch it for yourself, but he legit says, "If I have to pick a fight with every goddamn forsaken content creator on this platform, then I will do it to call attention as this call the arms grows to the next level." Like, you see how you took a serious issue and now it's like you're taking the piss? You know? And don't get me wrong. Maybe that's what you have to do in the day. Maybe that's what you got to do to modernize your content creation, because let's face it, I'm talking about it now, aren't I? So technically it worked. I mean, we've talked about this long before they even had Pick a Side YouTube. So technically they stole our swagger, but we'll give you credit because you have the bigger numbers I get. I mean, that's how it works, right? That's how you get the exposure. But you know, that's neither here nor there. This is salty grape sour, all right? I'm just saying. You've heard most of these talking points here about YouTube, their copyright system, their false claims, and how things can be taken advantage of, and how they should do a better job at curating content. And these all sound like retreads from like 50 episodes ago on the podcast. It's because it is. This isn't new. All right. This is not something that Mama Max and these other YouTubers just randomly came up with out of the blue. The heavens just opened up and oh, sanctimonious idea number one just hit him right in the cellular membrane. It's not what happened, right? That's not how it went down. The point is, when you do that, I feel like it takes away from the actual issue itself. Because imagine, it's like when you would have like an episode of Captain Planet and it wants to talk about gun violence. And then it goes back to the power is your, like, you see how it's like, maybe this issue wasn't for you. Maybe this isn't what you should cover. Maybe you stick to the environment, Cap. Stick to the environment.
It's like the episode of Good Times. Was it Good Times? No. What is it? The show with anyways, the bike shop episode. All right, the bike shop episode of the old sitcom with
of Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. That's what it was. The bike shop episode of Different Strokes, where
the bicycle
that show
man.
It has like this great sitcom tone where it's like what you talk about Willis and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you got this episode that's all about, hey kids, watch out, this man might try to touch you, and it's like, wait, whoa.
And it's like, hey, maybe read the room. This was not your forte. This wasn't your calling.
Yeah, it's a legendary episode because of how much of a tonal shift it was for the whole series. Yeah,
but like it's weird when you're trying to like plead a good case for a genuine good cause of something that YouTube should look into, and then you're talking about, remember, corpse, when you threw me aside like a scalded dog when I was no longer useful for you and I took the fall. And it's like, all right, fucking Bruce Wayne, shut the fuck up. Like, all right, man, doing a bit much. A smidge much, but once again, maybe that's why they have all those subscribers. Maybe that's just what's in now. Everyone's got to be unhinged psychopath number 637, bro.
Now, look, I get that there's like a genre of YouTuber that's like the edgy, horrifying YouTuber that has all these like borderline disturbing things in their videos and their aesthetic and all that stuff. But the difference between that and Corpse is that Corpse doesn't necessarily just try to make himself seem like he's this horrifying, disturbing figure all of the time. Like when he's talking about serious stuff, he just, talks. He doesn't try to make it seem edgy or anything like that. He just tries to talk. And like, maybe the voice that you hear is like a modified voice. Maybe it's a special voice. Maybe it's not actually his speaking voice, but he has projected the
But here's the thing, though.
That it's his regular voice. So
no, but here's the thing, though. Corpse and apparently Mama Max have like beef, like something that is behind the scenes. Apparently, according to he put this in the video, so I guess we got to talk about it. In the video, he's talking about, I took the fall for something that you did, and I thought that things would be able to go back to normal. And just when I thought that, then you didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I have the receipts, and I was just like, what the fuck this got to do with pedophiles? Like, dead ass.
Yep.
It's like, so this is like, he's like, because I want him to also spread the information to pick aside YouTube. And it's just like, it seems like you got some ulterior motives with this video. Like, it's pick aside YouTube and I got beef. And my grievances will be heard.
Make a separate video for that, please. Because if you're talking about this very serious topic that involves YouTube, like you're kind of ruining it if you're gonna just throw in some like beef that you got with somebody else that's not really like related to all of this.
I mean, like, all right, imagine a rapper doing something from charity, and then like halfway through the charity thing, he looks at the camera and says, "Hey, Kanye West, oh fuck boy, I'll fuck your ass up, homie." Like, it would be like, huh? What? But what Kanye got to do with saving the kids and the homeless shelter? Like, what? We over here trying to open up the soup kitchen, and you talking about fuck this other rapper, and that's Kim Kardashian's pussy is your pussy, Ray J. This is a different tape. Like, it would just be weird, and weird it was. But hey, man, YouTube is a weird place. That's what we've learned, if nothing else. Because remember, back in the day, YouTube used to be broadcast yourself. Now it's broadcast for corporate. Because if it's not monetization safe, then you're done.
Exactly.
Which means this
So,
video is going to get hit because they're going to be like, oh shit, what if they hit this video because we talked about their mama Max?
nah, they're not going to do all that.
Okay, you say that, but YouTube be tripping sometimes. But it'd be like that.
Look, as far as pick a side YouTube goes, the concept is very relatable. Like, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? Like, you shouldn't go at like whatever bots you're using to check these videos. You need to
Well, here's the
stop
problem.
using
Here's the
them.
problem.
Use regular people.
No, no, that's the problem. Because of this, it's not the bots. It's they when they upload these videos, they already acknowledge they expect the bots to do something. They're talking about when they go through the appeals process, and then a human tells them, "No, your video is staying banned."
Are you sure that it's a human that's doing it? That's the problem.
Well, look, you can never really truly know, but some of these people have that inner line to YouTube. Like, these are no small YouTubers that got on this video. A lot of them had over 200, 300K subscribers, and they got that hotline. Some of them even talked about having the direct contact line and still being told no. So I would not be shocked if it's an actual human. I'm pretty sure that they at least narrowed that out. These aren't your Joe Schmoskis.
If you're a regular human and you're seeing a video that's clearly someone saying, "Hey, this content creator is a pedo," and you should all be warned about these things that this person is doing.
You gotta start taking another look at that company, huh?
Right, and then like you decide, nah, man, you're bullying that guy. As a company, you should be like, "Hey, what? Wait, what did you say? Get him out of here! What is this? This is not an episode of Seinfeld. Like, what the fuck?"
It's like, sorry, we gotta put you under investigation, huh? Like, what's going on here?
What are you doing?
Like I said, the whole pick aside YouTube, like, I do believe that video makes a lot of great points. And yes, the people who are fully exposed to the world as pieces of shit, yeah, it should be public knowledge that they're pieces of shit, especially when they're not only just harming people on your fucking platform, they're harming people behind the scenes. They're doing stuff that's not even like, what's wild? When some of these people, when you find out that, yes, they touch kids, they're trying to hit kids up and solicit them for sexual facts and, favors and things of that nature, trying to hit them up with lewds, trying to, do all this weird fucking degenerate shit. And then you find out that the source of their content is that they're a Minecraft YouTuber with their own server with, access to hundreds of kids that follow them. And you think that we, as people, should know that those people are out there? Nah, bro. Nah, bro. You come on now. YouTube is definitely in the wrong. All I'm saying is Mama Max made that video real corny. That's all I'm saying. If you like his style and that's your thing, I'm not saying that it like completely kills the message. I'm just saying it definitely distracts a bit. Just a little bit. Just a smidge. That's my point about him. But
yeah,
if you're wondering, because I know some people in the comment section are gonna be like, but like, you say that, but like, you spent more time talking about how bad Max was and how bad YouTube was. If you've watched our podcast, we have spent, I don't know, maybe 35 to 45 episodes of the 57 episodes is this shitting on YouTube for a lot of the shit that we're talking about today and a lot of shit that was in that video already. So we would be beating a dead horse for the 46th time. And I'm over that. This is just, the message just gets a little muddied is all. That's all I'm saying. But that is basically the discourse behind Pick a Side YouTube and its hashtag. If you're wondering why it was trending on Twitter and why a lot of people have been talking about it recently, that is why.
The thing is, if you're all right, if you see that someone's making a video where they're just like talking about like a situation with other YouTuber, or they're just saying like, oh, this person did this, hey, maybe you should stay away from them, whatever, even something that's maybe like, hey, I kind of don't like this guy and here's why. Even that shouldn't just automatically be like, oh, you're bullying him, if they're not like, hey, all of you guys go to their channel and like bother them and like, dislike bomb them and stuff like that. Like if none of that is happening, then what is the problem with keeping up there? You know, what is the problem with this one video that's about this one person's opinion, or them warning people, hey, maybe you should avoid this content creator who's targeting like kids and whatnot. You know?
Look, man, I think I'm less confused about this topic than I am about the next one. Because the next one is just a whole can of worms of weirdness. Now, granted, it has nothing to do with anybody being touched without, consent or being groomed or anything like that. But it does kind of lend itself to a combination of the first topic about women in the space and the second topic about weirdos on YouTube. So I think you know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys have heard, but over the past couple of days, Lindsay Ellis has decided that they are going to retire from the content creation game. They've hung up their hat. They've taken off the tiara. They're checking out. They say their head's not in it anymore. They're not in a good headspace. They're tired of the bullying and almost the endless amount of foul-mouthed words that are being uttered at them, and they just feel as though the more they try to come up with more content, the more it feels like it's destroying their psyche. And this entire year of 2021 has been nothing but their life in shambles at this point. And they just feel as though even attempting to take breaks isn't good enough, because even when you take a break and you're still thinking about what your next project could be, is still an endless, hellacious battle for her. And, well, how has it come to this, you may ask? Well, for some reason, people were upset because Lindsay Ellis decided, I think this was like 10 months ago, because this shit is old, by the way. It's just come to another head recently, because that's when she decided, nah, I can't do this anymore. She gives it up. But she basically said that Raya, yes, the film Raya, was basically Avatar: The Last Airbender Redux. That was it. Look, there have been plenty of YouTubers who have said dumb shit like, oh, I don't know, Free Guy is just the Matrix Resurrections, but better. And people have jumped all over that. People jump all over hot takes. That is honestly one of the foundational pillars of internet culture at this point. There's a reason why there are so many threads that you see that start off with hot take, and watch Mortal Kombat begin in the comment section and quote retweets below. Mm-hmm. Somebody will be dragged. There will be blood. Blood for the blood god. But all that said, this, look, I understand that once again, just because I would thrive on that level of pandemonium, that level of chaos, that level of just absolute venom being spit through the keyboards of the flaming keyboard warrior's fingers at every single turn. And I can get power drunk off of something like that, because I think that shit is hilarious and comical in some way. But once again, just because I would thrive on that environment doesn't mean that she should be subjected to it just for giving an opinion as mundane as saying this piece of work is very similar to this other piece of work. Because, I mean, look, there's people on Twitter to this day who are still trying to tell me that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was the best 2 Spider-Man movies out of everybody's group of Spider-Man movies. They said it's better than Spider-Verse, which I don't know what bong you're ripping, but you were clearly on some sauce. I'll tell you that right now. You're saying that his 2 movies dwarf everything that Sam Raimi has ever done in Spider-Man 1 and 2. So once again, I don't know what spliff you're on, but you clearly have got the good strain. Maybe it's crack. Is it crack? It might be crack.
The argument of Andrew Garfield being best Spider-Man, that I can understand. But the movies? Nah.
No, they're talking about the movie. Like, there are some people people talking about the movies as a whole. Now, people are saying that he's the best Spider-Man. Look, I'll put it to you like this: best Spider-Man with suit on. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna argue with you on that. That's fine. That's fair. I disagree. But that's not really like something that's like a big deal to me if you think that. Because here's the thing. His movies sucked. But 95% of things that sucked about his movie had nothing to do with him. And besides, I don't care how good of an actor you are, if your script is shit, it's shit. Like, there's nothing you could do. Mm-hmm. You really think if you were to get, I don't know, let's just say for the sake of the argument, Samuel L. Jackson, and then you were to get Leonardo DiCaprio, and then you were to get, I don't know, who's a good actor. Maybe you get the children from Stranger Things, and then you make Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You think that shit's about to be saved? Because I'm going to tell you right the fuck now, it's not. It isn't, buddy. It really isn't. But my point is, right, the fact that, like, she's upset and she's, you know, downtrodden and, you know, she's very, you know, in anguish about this, you got to understand, it's one thing when you're just someone who makes content. It's another thing when you're a critic. Because when you're a critic and then, like, people critique you, yeah, that's, come on now. You got to roll with the punches on this one. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, she's 100% in the wrong, because according to her manifesto and her leaving, it wasn't just the fact that, you know, the randoms were doing it. Apparently people that she thought were close were also backing her ass up under the bus and then spinning the wheels. And that's some two-faced shit that, like, look, that could fuck somebody up. I'm not gonna lie to you. That part of it, that's pretty down low. Like, I feel like either there's something more cooking behind the scenes that we don't know about, or these people were lying to her face the entire time saying, oh, we fuck with you, we like you, because to compare two pieces of media, as hot of a take as it was, it's no reason to back the bus up over him. Now, you may be saying, well, it has to be more than that. It can't just be that she compared two movies. Well, because she compared Raya and Avatar: The Last Airbender, people jumped the shark and decided to say, oh, is that what you think? Well, you're racist towards Asian people because you think all Asian stories are the same. That's where they jumped. That's where they jumped. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen oh god, what's that movie? Not Coco. That is a good movie, by the way, but there's a movie that came out this year.
Encanto.
Yeah, we literally just watched it in Owl's Discord like a couple hours before this podcast. Well, I watched it with Owl a couple hours before the podcast. It's a pretty good movie. Colombian story. But the point of it is, if somebody were to say those two movies are similar, and then your immediate thing was, oh, you're trying to say all Hispanics look alike? It's not where you're going with that. Now, granted, those movies aren't very similar, like, at all. But I'm just saying, if someone said their art styles had some similarities in it, and then immediately your immediate reaction is say, you hate Hispanic culture? Like, you would be a weirdo. It'd be very straight. You're jumping a lot of sharks. Putting a lot of carts before horses. And look, Lindsay Ellis, she's been around a fucking long ass time. Like, I think she's probably had content out about as long as I've had content out as far as all of my platforms over the years. But she was consistent, like, almost on a weekly basis, like, doing all that weird shit that they did over there at Channel Awesome, which that is a whole all-star team of fucking weirdos and social degens over there. But that is not what the topic of this discussion is. We've already talked about that and some of the nonsense that they had going on behind the scenes over there. But all in all, yeah, like, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
Okay. So as far as, like, the criticism with, like, the racism and all that stuff, that is the kind of thing that a lot of her audience or her, like, adjacent audience would say. Like that's the kind of weird stuff you may expect from some people who are, like, fans of her stuff. And she's been around long enough that, like, she's probably seen all those, like, weird takes for a long time now. But I think ultimately, like, her reasoning for wanting to quit is valid. Like, you know, like, look, you're forced to deal with all this, like, stupid stuff for, like, you know, a long time after putting all of your time and effort into making all these videos and making all this content for people. And, like, you know, it's usually the people who seem like they don't appreciate your content who are, like, louder than the ones who do, because you're either not getting those comments from people who love your content, or they're just not really saying it as much as or as passionately as the people who are going, yeah, you racist! You're comparing Avatar to the Raya. How dare you? You're racist against Asian people. Which is, I don't know, that's a weird take. But If she's done with it, she's done. Like everybody should respect that. Everybody should just be like, look, I understand. Like you're allowed to bow out. Like this is, a taxing. It's a taxing thing. Content creation is a taxing thing because you have to like spend your whole time making the stuff for other people, and like on top of that, you have to deal with like shitty people who just want to like get a rise out of you, or just want to say whatever dumb thing is in on their brain because they've lived with the internet instead of with I don't know, outside where you learn. Hey, some things you need to keep to yourself. All right, just keep some things to yourself. Not everybody wants to hear everything that you need to say about every single subject or whatever. Maybe this person put this up here and they didn't want to hear you say it and be like, oh well, I think that you're being a little bit racist saying this, or whatever.
Because if you want the tweet word for word, she literally just said, also watched Raya the Last Dragon. And I think we need to come up with a name for this genre that's basically Avatar the Last Airbender Reduxes. It's like half of y'all fantasy, half of all your fantasy published in the past few years. Anyway, like she's saying that basically the last Avatar the last Airbender basically is being templated and made in other films.
Now, that was a bad take. That was a bad take.
Like I said, I'm not saying it's a good take. Like I said, I already disagree.
Yeah, but I remember when this came out. This is a tweet. Like it's a tweet on her personal Twitter page. Like she didn't necessarily like put out a video where she like specifically was like, here are the reasons why Raya is just like Avatar.
This happened back in March because even after that, the tweet received backlash. She said, I can see where if you were to squint that I was implying that all Asian inspired properties are the same. Especially if you were already privy to those conversations where I had not seen them. But the basic framework of TLA, The Last Airbender, is becoming popular in fantasy fiction outside of Asian-inspired stuff. But obviously, people kept slamming them. Now, this is something that happened back in March. And I just think it's really weird that we live in a world today where somehow, some way, we've just jumped to decide that it would be smart for some reason to somehow keep harping over this. And I'm not even saying that it's the people who are going after who are harping on over it. I feel like she just looks back at it, gets ticked off, and then like just goes down the downward spiral all over again.
Well, I think after like dealing with that was like the final straw kind of moment where like in her brain she was just kind of like, I'm kind of done with this shit. And then maybe she planned to like make the video where she was gonna like say everything that was in the post that she put, but then halfway through the process she was just kind of like, I don't want to be one of those people who puts out one of those like, oh, I'm leaving videos because I'm tired of this, whatever. Instead she was like, I'm leaving. Here are the reasons why. You can read all this if you want to, but I'm done with this, and that's fine. You just be like, I'm done. That's it. Instead, you got all these people being like, "Oh, here's my analysis, the deep analysis of why Lindsay Ellis left. She left because she's tired of it. Like that's it. Like end of discussion. She's tired of it, and she's allowed to be tired of it. Like some of y'all fucking suck. That's it. Period.
Well, let me just read you this excerpt she put in her goodbye. But all I know now is that being in the public eye at all is a losing game, and I regret all of it. I regret every time I ever stood up for anyone. It always backfires. I regret every time I pushed back against something unjust. It was always used to hurt me. I regret every time I ever stood up for myself. I never did it correctly. I regret every time I showed any vulnerability. Just more ammunition to be used against me later. I regret every time I tried to play the game with peers and colleagues. They will drop you the second you aren't popular on Twitter anymore. It's all hollow and brittle. And if there's one thing I learned this year, it's how eminently expendable I am. The good, progressive, cis, straight, wealthy white men keep on trucking and coming out on top because deep down, they know that the systems they profess and stand against ultimately exist to benefit them. And to all the people telling me I need to grow thicker skin and move on or remove myself from the conversation altogether, you are right. I don't have it in me to do the former, so I shall do the latter. Hope your new year is better than this.
Look,
that's the closer.
Those are the words of someone who needs a break. And she decided to take a break, and that's fine. I'm pretty sure, maybe a little bit of time that passes when she's like away from like the community, once she's away from like, the obligation of like making all this content, she'll probably look back on it and be like, okay, maybe I was, maybe I was a little like going a little wild or whatever. But that's all of that is fine because clearly she's being overwhelmed by the situation that she's in.
If you read the archive, this all spawned, like the archive for this goodbye post. She's talking about what happened to me in March and April hastened all this. So the catalyst for the leaving is in fact the Last Dragon, the Last Airbender tweets. Like this is what catapulted them 9 months later to say, you know what? I fold.
I mean,
and I'm just like, I don't know the people you were around, but like,
she's had a lot of like controversial like situations where she'll like do or say something maybe on Twitter or maybe in a video or something, and like she has a community of people who will hyper focus on like all these like minute things and be like, wow, I can't believe she actually said this, this is actually kind of ableist, or this is actually kind of racist, or whatever. And it's like dealing with those kind of people every time you like post something is just exhausting. And feeling like you need to defend yourself against those people instead of having the mentality of being like, all right, maybe you should like touch grass and like leave me alone. Having that like feeling like you need to like you owe them something, or like you need to defend yourself against those people all the time is taxing. And she's just like, you know what? Fuck y'all, I'm done. She's probably had like friendships that were like ruined with people who she thought were like closer friends who just did it so that they could like get themselves a leg up in the community, or like get themselves fans or likes or whatever, because people do a lot of crazy shit for clout these days, and that on top of like dealing with like your typical negative fans, and then your fans who are like hypercritical and stuff like that, like all that put together is just not good. I mean, it's like when ContraPoints got a bunch of shit for like a mix of like dumb things. Like ContraPoints once got a bunch of shit for having Buck Angel do a voiceover in one of her videos, because Buck Angel is a trans man who is also a trans medicalist, and so a bunch of her trans fans were like, this is like a betrayal to us because you had him in the video at all and did work with him. And it's like, yo, all right, guys, because he was in the video and said some words. He didn't like say his like trans medical takes or anything like that. He literally just did like he like read quotes, and that was it.
Because the other thing that I think is weird about this, right? Because there's some other tweets that have been unearthed about the situation, where basically she was just trying to say that no, this trend is pretty uniquely from Avatar. There's always been nations based on one attribute, elements, dragon parts. There's always a fire nation who wants to ruin everything. And there's always an arc where the villain gets a redemption arc. And I just wasn't thinking folklore and all. Like, this is something that's just way too common, basically in media and Eastern media. But it's like the last Avatar, I keep calling it the last Avatar. The last Airbender. The last Airbender did not invent that formula. Like, have you not seen anime? Have you not seen most war movies? Have you... Like, the hero's journey is Star Wars. Like, hello? like this ain't new, all right? Like, someone who's supposed to be an accomplished film critic, I'm just confused at how you were confused on this one. Now, granted, I just think you just take your L, move on, and anybody who... If you're talking about the people who are your constituents, your homies, your friends, are throwing you under the bus for this and trying to act like you are racist or you are a bad person for having this take, you need to cut those people out of your life. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Or fight them.
No, don't even bother fighting them. That's not worth it. Fighting them over a tweet? Nah,
it's not over the tweet. It's over the principle.
Principle. All right, you take the sledgehammer to him. Do what you got to do. But the point is, right?
I didn't say kill him. Whoa.
Hey, man. Kill him with kindness. With a hammer. Anyways. The thing I'm trying to say here is, like, if they're that much of a sack of shit to just back it up on you, just for... And, like, once again, I don't live your life. I don't know every single intimate detail that happened behind the scenes. I'm sure there's more that you wish you could, but you can't disclose out of fear of all the aforementioned things that you regret, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But you say that in your farewell that you regret sticking up for yourself because it's always turned to use against you by peons. And if it's used against you to keep you out of work, then like you need to out those people.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may be saying, but your ship will go down too. If you're already quitting the game,
yep,
you might as well take all of these people down with you.
Because it's not cool, and those people will still be around doing it to other people. And if you're talking about how like you wish you spoke up more, like now's an opportunity to speak up for someone. But either way, like it sounds like the people who are like who are doing those things, who are saying those things, like making it, taking whatever it is you say to defend yourself and using it against you. Those people are going to be mad at you no matter what, and those people are not worth your time. That's a lesson to everybody in your life. If they're literally sitting here trying to find everything that's wrong with you every single time you do anything, you don't need to like include them in your personal shit anymore. You don't need to include them to a point where they can actually like hurt you. You just need to be like, okay, and then move on with your life. That's cool. Stay mad. Like I don't know what to do about you.
And that bringing it back full circle, that's where we are.
Yeah.
That somehow that we're right back where we started. But
speaking of staying mad, though,
oh god,
there's a bit of a movie that came out.
Oh boy, was there! And no, it's not No Way Home. We talked about that last week.
Yep, Matrix Resurrections, ladies and gentlemen. Matrix Resurrections. Finally, the Matrix is back, and holy shit, the Matrix. Like, God, man.
Look. I'm gonna let you take this. I'm gonna let you take this whole category because I'm gonna just say a small. I'm not even gonna say 20 words here. All I'm gonna say is this: that movie was a subset of member berries. Of remember this, remember that. Funny, isn't it? And the only thing it really tried to do was give you the message of technology and this whole group of systems and the inner workings of the inner manifestations of the mind are all limiting you and distracting you from your own self-growth. That's about the through line of the movie. And it's not the first movie to do it. Won't be the last movie to do it. And it damn sure wasn't the best movie to do it. That's all I got. It was mid. Wasn't good, wasn't bad. Mid.
The moment that like it was announced that a Matrix sequel was gonna like happen, I was afraid that this type of thing was going to happen, that it was just going to be a situation where it was made to appeal to people who idolize the entire franchise and not just well, usually the first movie is the one that people are like, oh, that's the good one. The other ones were all right, or had cool fight scenes or whatever. Instead, it's going to appeal to people who are like obsessed with like the Matrix lore and everything. And this one kind of is like that. Like it's like every single time there's a person or there's a thing that's a reference to the original series, there's like literally like some kind of cutscene. There's some kind of like moment or a clip from the original content that's just spliced in there to be like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember Mr. Smith? Remember when Neo flew? Like, all that stuff. And I figured I figured that the message was going to be something that, movies have already like kind of tried. Other movies have already like included in their commentary, because, The Matrix was kind of considered to be like one of the first movies to really push like a philosophical message to the mainstream media, and like people really like thought about it. And even to this day, people are like taking it and trying to analyze it. And the fun thing about the new movie is that there's a scene that literally just takes all that stuff that people have done with the franchise and just puts it in there of like, this is what you guys are like. This is how you guys sound. And it seems like the entire movie was just like a matter of, please stop asking me to make another movie. Please stop asking me. Please stop asking us to, like give you what you got before, because you're not going to get the same exact thing that you got before, even if we try to do the same exact thing that we did initially. Especially considering only Lana was involved in this project. Her sister wasn't. And like considering that the Wachowskis are now trans women, they've gone through a lot of changes. They've gone through a lot of hardship in their life, which was part of the reason why it took them so long to even do this. And there were there were messages in the movie that it's like, oh, okay, I get it. That's really cool. There's this idea of like bots instead of agents, which the bots thing was like, I get the concept. It's really cool. It's really interesting, but like none of those things were all like kind of surface level in the movie. They weren't explored enough. If even one or two of those concepts were like they focused on that alone instead of trying to like appeal to people who love the franchise, then it probably would have been a better movie. Probably would have been a weirder movie, but it would have been like at least a core group of people would have been like, wow, this is really amazing. Oh my God. I really enjoyed this, despite all the action not being there or whatever. But I really like this, philosophical like part here or whatever, instead of trying to appeal to everyone and then coming out with something that's like 2 hours of like mid. Because we're at a point in time where mid movies are worse than bad movies, because a bad movie is very memorable to you. You're gonna remember like a shit show of a scene, but when it comes to a mid movie, you're gonna forget it after like a month at best. So unfortunately, this movie seems like it's gonna be kind of forgettable. Hugo Weaving didn't come back for the movie, which whatever. Also, I mean, this is kind of a spoiler, but it's not. Like if you paid attention, also one of the trailers spoiled the fact that that Mr. Smith is in the movie and he's Jonathan Groff's character. Um, Jonathan Groff didn't make any attempt to even like be like Mr. Smith. He just kind of like did his own thing, which would have been okay, but also was like he didn't try to be Mr. Smith from the older movies. He just tried to like bring up the memory of that Mr. Smith and say, I am the exact same person, even though he wasn't. So I don't know, whatever. All in all, the movie it had an attempt, it had good concepts that I really wanted to like see more like information from. And the last thing I'll say about the movie is, what the fuck was Jada Pinkett Smith's makeup job in the movie? Like what? Like who determined that should be the case? Because the whole point of the way that she looked in the movie was that years have passed, so she's supposed to be older. Mm-hmm. Jada Pinkett Smith is older. Like she is an older woman, so she could have just like, they didn't need to like put on some like weird old person makeup to make her seem ancient. She could have just been a woman who just looked really good for her age, because she is a woman who looks really good for her age. Like she's an older woman who looks like
we
20 years younger than
you gotta remember, they did say 60 years went by.
Who the fuck cares? Like this is the Matrix.
Not anymore. It's not.
Do you see Neo? First off, the perception of Neo is like very confusing in the movie, because like it's like either he is like really really old and like looks gray or whatever, and they like change his appearance to look like that only in the Matrix, but then
when they come outside of the Matrix,
he still looks younger or whatever. So it's like, I think the old man perception was supposed to be what other people saw in the Matrix, so that they couldn't recognize him. And the younger one is what he actually looks like. So why didn't you just let Jada Pinkett Smith like look young? Like it's not like the passage of time matters that much in the course of this movie anyways. Like they say 60 years goes by, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, to be fair, to be fair, Neo was in the hyperbolic time chamber using that healing tank for 60 years.
He was in the Matrix. Like it doesn't, like, it ultimately doesn't matter. Like Jada could just look like herself, and then they could have even like created some kind of bullshit reason as to why she looked that way. Looked that way, but instead they were like, oh, she has to look like this like decrepit old woman with like, I don't know, like the face looked fake. Okay, it was really strange.
She did like she was falling apart at the seams. Some scene.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, this is because she's old and she's one of the only survivors. And then the lady that was with her, I don't know if like I'm assuming she was not a character that was from the other movies because the actress I know she was not in the other movies. I forget her name right now, but like I know she's not in the other movies. But she's also like just as old as Jada Pinkett Smith's character as Niobe. Niobe. And I don't know, like the her makeup wasn't even as bad, and I'm what are we doing? Why? Like why? Like it's so
Question science
weird.
still can't answer.
Like the whole thing was just kind of like why, but whatever. You know, they came up with a contrived reason to bring back Neo and Trinity. Fine, I could believe what happened. I could believe, you know, the reason why. And like that whole concept was interesting, but they didn't dive deeper into it. They just kind of surface level, you know, and then everything ends the way it did and then the movie is over and it's like it could have sequels, but it shouldn't. Like there's no reason to go back.
Agreed. But you know they're probably going to. There will be a Matrix 5. Now,
Nah,
to be honest, this Matrix movie,
it bombed.
it may have bombed, but it was still better than Matrix 3.
Are you sure?
Look, man, Matrix 3 was a movie where I was like, yeah, I just didn't need to see that.
I mean, like, there's a good chunk of that movie where it's just like there's a lot of like weird, like weird shit going on, or there's a lot of like stupid shit going on. You know, like the concept of like Mr. Smith, all he had to do, he was like somehow the only agent that was like, if I just pick up this phone and I just like, you know, leave while other people are leaving, I can just inhabit someone's body, and now I'm in the real world. That was never really explained. And that concept was interesting, but it was also kind of stupid. And it got dumber and dumber as it went on. Trinity dying was like I kind of get it, but I also was like, that's weird too. They're like, oh, they got into like, you know, a shipwreck and she got stabbed. You know, Neo has to go it alone. Oh, by the way, he's blind. I'm like, well, all right, you know, whatever. You know, he goes to the, you know, the land of the Sentinels, the land of the Squiddies, and he jacks into the Matrix, and um, eh, he gets Mr. Smith to become a part of their system so that they could just eradicate him that way because they couldn't the other way. Which, sure, whatever. Um, Everything else in that movie, I don't remember what. Like it was just like Mr. Smith, like just assimilates everyone else in the Matrix. So
Because the way I look at it, it's just like, look, man, just watch the first one, the Animatrix, and the second movie. And if you're bored, you can watch the one that just came out on HBO Max.
you can watch the third one to know how it ends,
You don't need to watch the third, guys.
but like skip all the parts that are in Zion with that fucking like that mech battle stuff because that was just
Mech Warrior Online.
yeah, that was strange. And then the part where the dude, first off, why did the mechs not have any sort of covering on the cockpit? You know, like why? Because you know when I saw the scene where the squiddies just kind of like flew by that one guy and his face got all cut up, and I was just like, why is there nothing covering that? Like did we not have time?
Need it. He's fine.
He died.
He's fine.
So
He's
it was just
fine, dude.
But the fight scenes in that movie are still better than the ones that are in Resurrections. Like, I don't get it. We have better technology now, but like the fight scenes in Resurrections,
I also think a lot of things are lazy now. Because this movie banked way too hard on, do you remember that? Because I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Okay, the Merovingian shows up in Resurrections. Merovingian, who was like a super important character, like, you know, he's involved in all kinds of like crazy interesting lore about the Matrix universe, and he's reduced to like a fucking joke in Resurrections, where he's just like he was just standing there like yelling French stuff at them, and like he's like you ruined my life and blah blah, you disrespect me and all this other like weird stuff, and then he just leaves.
He just walks away.
He just walked away, and
you
I'm like,
took everything away from me. Okay. And then all of his other constituents got the hands from being exiled, and then he's like, okay, I'm out of French ammunition. It's like that. That's it. You're just out of ammunition. All right.
It also would have been nice if they like said how programs like the Merovingian were saved from the Purge when they created a new Matrix for Neo and Trinity. But whatever. Again, these are all concepts that would have been nice to like get more information on, even if they focused more on that instead of like Neo's a game designer. Yeah, this is a joke on the game design and video games and how the industry works right now. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's nice.
I don't know, man. I just feel like this movie wasn't necessary, and I feel like this is one of those movies where it's like this didn't need to be made, and the third movie is like I kind of just wish it wasn't made. But all in all, it didn't do anything for me.
Me either. I got halfway through the movie and I was like I fell asleep, and so I had to like continue it the next day. So it was hard to watch because like it had like a very slow build up, and like that slow build up was an interesting concept of like Neo being like, was any of that even real? But you as like the person who's watching it know it was all real. So yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting how these movies have had good concepts and the execution hasn't always been there. Because the first movie, great. Second movie was good. It did some questionable things, but ultimately I don't think anybody was like too bummed out about it. The third movie was a lot of head scratching, and this one was just like, okay, but why though? Also, having a split release is never going to be good for your pockets. If you're like, nah, man, we got to be in theaters, but you put it on HBO Max, just know we're watching it on HBO Max. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, it's got to be one or the other. It can't be both.
Because once you do both, I mean, you're only cucking yourself at that point, and you have no one to blame but yourself. But on that note, I think that's going to bring 2021 to a close, because now we are 2 minutes away from the last day of the year, baby. Yay! But yeah, we will see you guys next week, and hopefully that time we will not be throwing for content. Pick a side, YouTube. There's only one way that the stream can end, and that is only